Blessings, dear YouTube community. It is such a gift to be with you always. And we're just coming up. Oh, it's 11. Let's get on there. Facebook Live, Instagram Live. Oh, blessings and welcome, everyone. I'm so grateful to be with you here today, this beautiful spring day. I pray wherever you are enjoying the gifts, the blessings of this beautiful, beautiful day. May you be well. Hey, thank you for hopping on. Good to see you. Good morning, beautiful. I'm just saying, we're having such a gorgeous day here. The neighbor's car. Just the universe confirming that we're having such a beautiful day out here. I live in the Coachella Valley and it is just stunning out. So I pray wherever you are that you are, despite whatever's going on here in the world currently, that you are able to allow yourself to be out in nature, allow yourself to get out and soak in the beautiful blessings. Good morning. Nice to see you here. Thank you for saying hi on Instagram. I pray that you're really staying connected to source, staying connected to your truth and staying grounded with the earth energies so that you can be plugged into a story, a truth that is beyond the stories that we are being inundated with, if you watch the mainstream media. So I pray, and there is something very real happening here in the third dimension, yet there is also something very real happening in the fourth dimension, in the awakening of the one heart that we all share. And it is such a gift. It is such a blessing to be with you. So thank you for joining. Thank you for hopping on YouTube, on Facebook, and at Instagram. I have a few announcements. I'm very excited. The next couple weeks, I'm going to have some more guests. If you were with me, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to put it on YouTube, I missed the boat to copy it off of his story, but I had a wonderful 2-hour chat with at the Organized Earth on Instagram, and it was very, very powerful. We talked about orgonite energy. We talked about 5G and the coronavirus and such. And unfortunately, it's not there anymore, and I didn't get a copy of it. So it's poof, it's out there in the grids. But I thank everyone who joined and who hopped on in that conversation just to hold space for the awakening that we're all doing. Blessings. Hi, thank you for saying hello on YouTube. And so that was very powerful. And today, as you know, we're going to talk about the metaphysics of healthy boundaries. Whoa, this is a big one. Even though we are, for the most part, isolated in our homes, there may still be those psychic boundaries, right? Those healthy boundaries we want to keep in place. And as we move back out into the world shortly in time, be able to hold that sacred space. So that's our theme today. Next week, I'm so very grateful. Hi, April. I'm so very grateful and excited to be joined by a sister who I have known for 30 years from Ireland. I grew up in Ireland. She's one of my best girls from forever. And if you have 30-year-old friends, y'all go back. You've seen all the funky haircuts. You've seen all the funky boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever it is. And you still, you love each other unconditionally. But she is a psychic, a medium, a healer. She's a shaman. She's got the Reiki. She's just got the whole package. And she lives in Northern Ireland. We're going to have just a conversation about everything spiritual, multidimensional, metaphysical, healing, and especially grounded and anchored in this time. Her name is Aveen Murray. She's a medium and she's a blessed sister. So please make sure you join me. Hop on next Thursday. And then the Thursday after that, April 30th, I'm going to have Intuitive Spirit Life with me here. I was on her show a couple weeks ago. We had a great conversation. And again, I feel that these conversations are so important to have just in the collective, to continue opening the space, to continue speaking in light, and to share our considerations over many things, spiritual, metaphysical, multidimensional, and in regards to what we're currently facing now in this world together. And she is an amazing empath. She is a holy fire Reiki master and just a goddess and a divine. You know what I feel from you, Diane? I feel just so nurtured. She's got the mama energy. She's just like the wisdom. So join us April 30th for our conversation and our hangout here on 4D Trinity. I'm looking forward to that. So another announcement on Fridays started last week. I am I'm sharing cardiokinetics. It's an accessible class. It's like a bar meets Pilates with level 1 if you're a beginner, and level 2 if you want to spice it up a little bit more, on Fridays at 11 a.m. on Zoom. And also, I'm so super stoked to begin my Spiritual Apprentice book club on April 25th. That's in a couple Saturdays. It's going to be ongoing, no contract necessary. You can drop in as you'd like. And we are going to be using my book, The Reiki Apprentice, as the book that we will follow. We will follow the blueprint of the information shared in my book and use it as a means for your healing. So if you're interested in that, it is both the Kalanetics and the book club are donation, very accessible, $2 to $5 sliding scale through PayPal. You will need Zoom, and you can drop in as you like. With the book club, you're going to learn how to heal your life with understanding metaphysics and the interconnection of all things through all time, space, and dimensions through the grid. So enough said, let's get started. You know, about a month or two ago, I did a show, and I'll come back here on YouTube and I'll put a link, and it was about energy protection. And there's been a few of those over the years that I've been here. And the number one message, right, the takeaway from that, well, there was two, right? It's practicing being present in the moment, being in the now moment as a means to be absolutely clear, to be able to identify what is your truth, what is not your truth, where you can strengthen your healthy boundaries psychically, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So there's that, right? Allowing yourself to be fully in the now, because when we're in the past, when we're in the future, we are not here in a coherent, aligned state to be able to be in our power. And what is your power? Your power is simply to be rooted and connected with source, with God, with love and light of the universe, that which allows all people, places, and things to find their divine harmony together, but also their sovereign harmonic convergence and alignment with their own beingness. So this is very important. Now, the number two thing that we took away from that, and that is going to be a theme today for healthy boundaries. Rule number one: don't agree to things you are not in agreement with. The moment we say yes, when our heart is saying, no, don't go in there, don't agree to that, whatever it is, when we say yes, what we're doing is we are going against our own value. We are going against our own integrity, and we are weakening this divine sheath of sovereignty, this divine radius of light that is your truth, that is your birthright, that you've come in with. Don't agree to things you are not in agreement with, because we know the moment we say yes to them, all of a sudden we're allowing in all sorts of energy, all sorts of information, and we can become distracted, we can become misguided. Our strength, our sense of power can become muddied and weakened. Okay, and the metaphysics of it, if you know this, if you study with me, and if this is new, I use this picture to depict the grid matrix of collective consciousness. This is the consciousness of all people, places, of all people that have ever existed on this planet. And it depicts all experiences, memory, all definitions, all emotions, all feelings, all actions that have ever taken place through all beings on this planet, through all time, space, and dimensions. The moment you agree to something that is something you would not agree to, you are saying yes, not only to that person, that place, that thing, that situation, that event, but you are saying yes to all the other people through all time, space, and dimensions who have also said yes. You are in agreement with that notion that you have to go along with whatever it is. Whatever you plug into, whatever you decide energetically through your word, your thought, your actions, your deeds, these threads of energy extend from your body, mind, vehicle and connect you to this matrix. And because like attracts like, you will be plugged into that like energy, but also that like energy will plug into you. And so it will begin to feed you And is what you are being fed, what you are plugging into, really of service to you? And when you say yes to that which you are truly not in agreement with, you're saying yes to all sorts of other information and energies to come back into your field, to come back into your psyche. And I am welcoming questions. I do want to get trust your gut. You're saying, Christine, yes. I'm not in agreement to everyone staying safe when I know words are spells. Very good. Yeah, your word is your wand. Your word is absolutely your wand. But sometimes it's hard. I know for me, I grew up and I didn't have an activated throat chakra. I didn't have the capacity to speak my truth. And so it's been a lifelong, challenge and an invitation to grow into that throat chakra, to activate it. So for healthy boundaries, don't agree to things you are not in agreement with, especially with people you have boundary issues with. So sometimes we don't know who we have boundary issues with until we have those issues with them. And it's like surprise, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was going to have to deal with this. But sometimes right away, or from past experiences, whether it's with a client, a neighbor, a roommate, a family member, whatever it might be. And so you get to pause and be present with what your truth is telling you. Be present and honor what your integral guidance system, your inner GPS, is telling you and showing you the way forward. And so you can always pause. You can always say, let me get back to you. You can always, if you're ready to speak your truth, you can always say no, thank you. And you can always speak in grace, right? It doesn't have to be a big conundrum, a big fight, or a battle. Now, sometimes when things get out of hand, psychically, right, energetically, you may have to do some work on the deeper levels, which we'll get into. You must learn to courageously communicate your truth. So again, throat chakra, your word is your wand. Everything that you speak out into the world is stimulating and activating the atomic structure of this universe. And again, whatever you are in agreement with, whatever you don't put a healthy boundary around, when someone comes at you and they says, and they, they invite you to a situation that you don't want to have anything to do with, you can say no, thank you. And you don't have to judge them. You don't have to disrespect them. You can simply say no, thank you, and allow that to be. Now, the thing is sometimes they don't hear you. And so you'll have to repeat yourself. But let's keep going because I have tons of notes here on the side. Okay, so what I want you to know first and foremost is that you are supernaturally inviolate. That means you are unfuckable with. You really, at the heart and soul of your being, cannot be violated. I know we might feel vulnerable where there are unhealed aspects that we walk with that are still maybe in the unconscious, those deep stratas, deep down in the sub basement of us. We may have weaknesses. We may have blind spots where we just don't see it until we're like in it and we're like, oh, here we are. This is an opportunity for me to practice embodying my truth, for me to practice speaking that word. And it might even be with your own husband, with your lover, with someone very, very close to you, with a grandparent, but at the same time, your ability to express your truth, mind, body, and actions is very, very important for you to maintain your healthy boundaries. And this is something in some cases that we get to do over and over and over again. Okay, so you are supernaturally inviolate. You are supernaturally sovereign. Your actions and thoughts help to maintain your truth. They help to strengthen your truth. And we learn patterns about boundaries with family and through guardians through our early years. So maybe some of us are born as an only child, and maybe we have an experience of really having solitude and being okay with solitude and sort of having that sense of closing the door and this is my space. And other people have grown up with 4 or 5 brothers and sisters kind of all mixed in together and not really having a sense of healthy boundaries, maybe even sharing toothbrushes or whatever just energetically might be going on there. And then you come into contact with these people who have a different definition of boundaries from you. And you get to, either go with the flow if it feels safe. And not every situation is like, you have to be like, dun, 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 like wearing your superwoman bangles and being like, get thee behind me, but there are times and there are places where that is so. There are some people in situations where you don't even have to think about boundaries because they naturally understand. They come with a respect. There's a sort of a balance, a justice in the exchanges. And that's really beautiful. And for the most part, that will be happening for us. For the most part, we are ascended. We are conscious enough that we don't have to keep running into this. But there are areas where we do run into this. So again, we must learn to courageously communicate our truth mentally, physically, and factually. So don't worry about upsetting people. Again, whether it's grandma, whether it's your lover, whether it's your neighbor, whoever it is, if you don't set up the correct conditions for you to maintain your sovereign peace, right, then you are allowing a way open in your psyche. You're allowing the conditions for leaky borders, for little holes to activate in your aura, in your energy field, in your sacred space. And once enough of those little holes are open, we begin to allow then, like a magnet, other like energies or experiences to come in. Thank you everyone for saying hi on YouTube, on Instagram, and at Facebook. Blessings, right? But we don't want to do this. We want to maintain that sovereignty, maintain this ring of light, this clarity of truth around us. Okay, so don't worry about upsetting people. If you don't speak your truth, you're the one who's going to be upset. you know, and so you are the one who will be upset, and this creates openings in your energy field for more like energies again of that experience to come through. So we have to learn how to mentally, right? How to think, how to be clear, and are we giving people, especially those people that we know do not have any sense of boundaries and where they're just all up in your grill, can we mentally think about this person, this place, this situation in such a way with clarity and without having to pull out swords in battle, unless that's part of your exchange with them, right? Okay. But just on a general level, can we do this in a graceful way that is connected to source, to love, to God, to light? Yes, we can. I have a neighbor who had in the past this habit of giving me gifts. Now he's a male neighbor, and I know him, but I don't really know him. And he would give gifts and this. And at Christmas, we're all very friendly. We give each other a little card, a little box of chocolates, or some cookies or something, and it's very friendly and nice. Well, this neighbor, took it beyond that, and like on a weekly basis was starting to gift me things, gift me items. And I was like, it's a certain point. I don't really want this. Thank you so much. You can have it back. And then what started happening is he started coming into the carport where the car is parked and putting with a push pin, little things and trinkets and gifts onto my gate door. And I was like, I don't like this. Energetically, he's cool, we're all cool, everyone's cool, but this is my healthy boundary. Don't be like just getting comfortable with coming all up in my house, to my gate, and like putting your stuff on my thing when I think I've expressed to you that I'm not interested in receiving these things. So what would happen, because I wasn't there yet, is I would take the stuff and I'd put it in a pile and I'd give it to the Goodwill, or I'd give it to the Salvation Army or whatever. I would just sort of recycle it. And then it got to the point where I was like, why am I recycling his shit? Why am I doing this? Like, what is this all about? I don't need this. So the wheels started turning until one day I come home. I was out for a walk and I came home, and there's like this whole thing, a package on the hood of my car. And it's a teapot and tea and a card from him and this and this. And I was like, I don't want this. I don't need this connection with you. And I don't want this connection with you. It feels completely inappropriate. And like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. So I was like, boom, we have to do something about this. So I looked at all this stuff, put it back in the bag where he put it, and I wrote a note because I could have been like, but I was like, no, we're gonna be cool, because if you fight fire metaphorically with fire, then there's just gonna be more fire to contend with. And I am not about creating that in my hood and around my home. This dude lives right next door. So I'm like, let me keep the peace and let's raise it up and do this from a higher level. So I wrote him a note and saying, please, while I'm grateful of your thoughtfulness, I do not wish to receive any more gifts from you in the future. God bless you. And I reikied it and I put that intention and I placed love there. I didn't put zzz there. I put love there because I don't want zzz. We don't want that. Balance, neutral, clear, light, love, energy. I put that there and I put the whole thing back in his post box. I blessed it. delinked, cut the cord, I let it go, and now he gets it, okay? And not all situations are like that, but that's just from an experience. You grew up with brothers and sisters. Okay, Sarah says, I grew up with brothers and sisters. It was a big, loud family, no boundaries whatsoever. Yeah, see, that's a trip, right? Because then maybe we think that that's the way things are, and then we bump into situations or communities and we begin to learn. Oh my gosh, the God phone already. I know there's a comment there on YouTube. I'll read that shortly. Hey God, what's up? Yes. God says hi, everyone. Oh, blessings. It is a beautiful day. Okay, we're going to read a little bit from A Course in Miracles about all this. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, right on. Blessings. God's message is love is the truth. May we rest in that and be nourished by that. Thank you, dear God. All right, talk to you later. Blessings. I love that. Love is the truth. Okay, so we're going to read a little bit from A Course in Miracles here shortly. I do want to read Christine's offering. My boss told me to get the fuck out of her office after a coworker spoke harshly to me, and I wanted to talk about it. My boss is an only child and comes from a home where her father drank. You know, there's so many different complex layers. 4D Fighting says a smart man said, between the stimulus and the response lies your greatest power. Right. I appreciate that. And I'm not sure if you were here a little earlier, but I was saying like that you can always pause. You don't have to respond. You don't have to react. You can always pause and understand that if they are not getting it, then we're ready to employ part two. So let's keep going. Your mind, your mouth, and your heart must match. You must give the same respect you seek to experience back. So if I'm in a situation and I expect my roommate to honor the healthy boundary and not come into my room, I can't be all like going into her room and like borrowing her brush or her sweater, right? And believe me, I've been there. So whatever it is that we wish to receive, we get to practice that back. Now, it doesn't always guarantee that we're going to be reflected that same truth back. And so this is where we get to strengthen our ability with grace, with love, and with light to practice that ability to extend, to express mind, mouth, and heart what it is that we are intending. So your mind, the thoughts you have about a situation being that like, I am entitled to healthy boundaries. This is my room. No one's coming in here except me or unless I invite them in. That has to match what you're saying. If that's what you're thinking in your mind, but you're not expressing that to your roommate who keeps wandering into your room and you're just going, oh, that bitch or that, blah, blah, but in your mind, you're thinking, I deserve healthy boundaries. I want healthy boundaries. But you're not able to express it, or you're not calling her or him out when that happens, right? Then again, you're allowing that gateway to open. You're allowing the space, your sacred space, to say, I'm in agreement with this. Now, your heart, what does your heart say? If your heart is saying one thing, your mind is saying another thing, and your mouth is saying something else, then you have the potential for those leaky boundaries in your energy field, and all sorts of confusion is going to be influxing in. And that's why it's so important to get straight, to align your mind, your mouth, your heart, and your actions. You must give the truth in your heart, the rise into your mind, to be able to see it. If you can't see yourself with those healthy boundaries, it's going to be very challenging for that energy or that entity or that person to understand, to get it, and to respect it. If you haven't strengthened your mental muscularity, your mental musculature, to be able to know that you are inviolate, to be able to know under grace that you can create healthy boundaries and respect yourself, then no one else is going to know that for you, right? And you set the mark, you set the tone for others to know that about you by. So mentally, see your truth. You have to be able to see it within. With your mouth, speak your truth. Your words create your world. And we are going to go through some examples here in a moment. With your heart, know thyself. Right? Trust your intuition. A lot of this stuff with healthy boundaries is it's like your intuition will show you, it will guide you, it will nudge you, it will tell you, like I didn't get it with the neighbor. This like the whole thing went on and on and on for months until like my intuition the whole time was like knocking, knocking, knocking and saying, pay attention, this doesn't feel right. And I was like, but it's just the neighbor and he's just friendly. And, we make excuses for people and it's fine. There's no like weird stuff. But still, it's a healthy boundary situation until until it had happened enough where my intuition was like, I was telling you the whole time, girl. And I was like, oh shit, okay, now I get it. That didn't feel right from the very beginning. I was making excuses for them. I was making, I was letting things be a certain way. I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to upset them. I didn't want to, I want everyone to like me, or whatever all that story we might be walking with is. And so be mindful. Trust your intuition when you feel something about someone. And sometimes it's about just turning around and walking out, like Skylark, where you're saying that the boss, had this reaction. That's where we're going to hit it from a different level. So when they still don't get it, when you've put the memo out and you've said, here's the healthy boundary, here's the situation, like I had with my neighbor, and it kept happening, the gifts kept coming. Then it's like, okay, we get to act in the 3D and in the 4D. So if we're not saying it enough, right? How is what I am not saying not getting through? Am I saying the same thing over and over again to this person in this 3D, in the world? And if they're not getting it, then there's something that I'm saying that's not matching this upgrade. Maybe where my heart is and where my mind is moved to, my mouth needs to upgrade and match it energetically. So instead of saying, no thanks, he kept giving me gifts. Oh, no thanks, no thanks. What I needed to say, what I got to say and move into saying is like, I don't want any more gifts from you ever again, period. Thank you and God bless you. Like I had to upgrade that. Now also on a 4D level, right, on the metaphysical level, it's handling it higher self to higher self. And we're going to do a little 3-minute, 4-minute meditation at the end here where we're going to take our power back. So already, is there someone that's coming up on your psychic radar that there's been a misalignment with power? There's been an exchange where you've given your power away. You didn't mean to give them that much of your energy. You didn't mean to have that kind of an exchange. And they've, in a way, you've created a leaky boundary in your field, and they've been able to plug into your psyche. And how do you know that? You know that because you will be thinking about them. You will be thinking about the situation over and over and over again. Why is it that we're not thinking about those positive, beautiful, blessed, relations and healthy boundary relationships more, but the things that loop in our mind through the grid that keep us plugged in to those situations are the ones that once we become aware of them and we know something's wrong, something's off, it keeps coming. That's your intuition. That's your higher self saying, like, you get to recreate the situation. You get to recreate these healthy boundaries that you're working to put in place so that you create a different resonance. So on the 4th dimensional level, you call in their higher self, you have a conversation. I have videos on YouTube and I'm going to make a new one because it's from years ago, but you write their higher self an energy letter and you tell them, step down, step back. I am this and that, whatever you need to say, you do it energetically, but you also recalibrate what you're speaking in the 3D to match this new level of your self-respect. Because if you keep bumping into these situations with these people, and they're not getting the memo, then you get to rewrite the memo you're sending out. Okay, so leaky borders. When we don't give the memo clearly or they don't get the memo we are sending and you know it, your boundaries are weakened, right? So it's up to you. And again, how do you know? Because you keep thinking about them. You keep thinking about the situation. And again, some of these situations are benign, right? And it's just an opportunity for you to practice strengthening your tongue, speaking in words of love, creating, cohesive, neutral zones of respect, and a lot of the time that's just all it is. And it's a beautiful gift that we get to practice that. And sometimes there's a little more violation. There's a little more situation going on that has some charge. And you're like, okay, I got to rewrite this memo. I need to reactivate these healthy boundaries around me, my mind, my emotions, my space, my psychic integrity, this physical body even. So your boundaries may become weakened if you don't strengthen your ability to stand up and speak your truth with integrity. What happens is you become enmeshed with that person, place, or thing through the grids. Because remember, at the beginning, we were talking about the number one rule for healthy boundaries is don't agree to things you are not in agreement with. When you agree to them, when you don't say no thank you, when you don't put your foot down and create a healthy line in the sand, is that you're saying, yes, that person plugs into you through the grid. You are in essence then plugged into them. And here's you, the little stick figure, and you just keep getting that energy piped into you. and you keep piping out into the universal grid matrix that thing of like, I'm a victim, I can be violated, come right into my energy field, I don't know how to maintain this sovereign sacred space that I am in. But all these people are lessons, all these people are teachers, and they're divine gifts. So stand firm, right? And until you stand firm, mind, mouth, heart, and actions, you will get reruns of those same situations. So if you have a weak mind, physical and energetic, if you have weak mental, physical, and emotional boundaries, they will energetically get into your psyche. The even the past, right? The past trauma, the past events, ex partners, ex business partners, whatever it is, that will keep getting in until you say no more. Okay, they, again, how will you know? They will be all you think about. And when you think about them, you're giving them more energy. You're giving away your power, your sovereign power of clarity, integrity, and truth. So when you don't keep matching and raising what you're speaking, what you're thinking, what you're feeling with your actions, again, you create the potential for leaky boundaries, and they can get in easier. That like energy can get in easier. Psychic protection is so important, because when something gets into your psyche and you're on repeat, it can really be devastating. It can really mess with you and start to make you question yourself. And we don't need that. I don't need to be questioning if it's okay, that my roommate comes into my room and gets on my computer without asking me. It's like, unless you already have that communication and that understanding that that's what you guys do, that's how you roll. And some people roll like that. Some people share underwear. Okay, it's just like it is what it is. But unless you have created that communication, right, and you don't want someone wearing your underwear, it's like, we need to create some healthy boundaries around here. Okay, so be in the now of your truth, not in the victim version of before. So let me read this from Skylark, and then I have some examples that we're going to go through. She says, my boss's mother spoke to her and cursed as she did to me. I never did get to have my day. I've been working from home ever since, so I've had time to resolve it on my own. Okay, well, maybe it's time for that like 4D to hit it from that higher self level, which we'll do in that meditation a little later. 4D Fighting Art says, I used to have an anger issue when I was younger. I learned that nothing good comes from an angered response. I also learned that we are the masters of our world. You choose who is in it. That's right. That's right. And so choosing consciously what you're letting in, choosing consciously who you're giving your time and attention to. And again, what thoughts are keeping, are on rerun, are on repeat in your mind. And if they're going somewhere that you don't want them to go, or they're connecting you to a person, place, or thing that doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make you feel strong, doesn't make you feel in alignment, with just your peace, then we get to rethink this. We get to respeak this. So, family, roommates, landlord, neighbors, relationships, romantic or otherwise, friends, clients. I remember with clients, I used to take calls all the time, even past 10 p.m. at night. And I remember I let that happen. So sometimes we get to create healthy boundaries within our own structure of how we operate. And I used to let that happen and so my clients thought this was okay to just contact me like any time of the night, or I'd spend like 3 hours on the phone, not charging them, just like, and then I realized, like, okay, I need to create a healthy boundary. No client calls after a certain time in the evening. Now, I couldn't assume that they knew that. Like any relationship, I got to express that and clearly communicate with them this truth, this new set point of reality. And they got it. Now, maybe there were one or two scragglers who would still call, but did I pick up the phone? Hell no. If I see, and this is where you got to match. If your mind, your heart, your mouth, and your actions aren't matching, then again, you're creating those potentials for that energy to get in. So I created a new healthy boundary. And when people would still not get the memo, even though I sent it, I didn't send it again. I just stopped answering the phone. And that, for me, for that situation, worked. Healthy boundaries. Eating, right? I like eating in peace. I like eating really generally, not even like listening to music or watching the TV. In silence is where I know my healthiest digestion is. Sometimes conversations with people will go into some weird dark energy or talk about some funky stuff. And I know for me, I've learned how to communicate with friends or family. Let's not talk about this while we're eating. Let's not speak these words, this vibration over the food that we are taking into our bodies. And that's the way I create a healthy boundary. Sometimes, and most people that I would share food with would be like, oh shit, yeah, you got a point there. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that later if we need to talk about it at all. Okay. Um, Also, talking on the phone. I remember there used to be a time where I would talk to clients on the phone while I was like eating because I was in such a rush and so busy and doing stuff. That was not creating the correct conditions for my digestion either, to process and to eat what they are telling me. It's like you learn these healthy boundaries for yourself. And so for me, I had to create this healthy boundary of saying, make sure you give yourself enough time to eat your lunch, have a little space to digest or have your tea, and then book your client for that time after that. So if you know where I'm getting with that. Okay, so here we go. The landlord. I lived in Ireland for 10 years. And I remember, so back in the day, I'm not sure what it's like now, but when you rent these little bed sits and flats, the manager, the landlord would come in. You pay once a week, not once a month. They would come in, you'd have a little rent book, you'd leave your cash or your check or whatever on the kitchen table. They would come in, get the money, and they would sign it so you know that they were there. Well, I was never home when the landlord was there, but one day I came home knowing that it was always on a Friday. And I came home, I saw he had signed the book and this and that, and we had already met. I had met the landlord from whatever time before, so I knew who it was. But I remember looking around my little flat and feeling like things just looked a little displaced. Like the book that I know I left closed was open. There was a teacup and a saucer that I had not left it there. I had moved it over here. There were little things that felt very peculiar. And I just was like, okay, note to self, pay attention. Well, the next week, things got even more peculiar. And I had this intuitive sense that kind of felt really like it was like a bing, and you get this really kind of funky shiver. And I opened up my closet. And I used to have a very fastidious way that I would do all my little socks and my undies and my, shirts, and I would hang up tank tops and, how you do you, or sometimes it's all just thrown in a drawer, whatever it is for you. But I remember like I got this chill because I realized my frickin' underwear drawer had been rifled through. I know how I leave my things, and that shit had been fucked with. And I remember I was like, mm-mm. Like I was like, no way. So the next Friday, I sat there and I waited for him with my rent. And and who joined me? My boyfriend at the time, who was a pretty hardcore, serious Dublin head who you don't fuck with. And so we were there and I was there and I like confronted him and I told him, that I knew, and that from the week before how was reading my book and how he moved the teacup and so I called him out. And I was maybe 20, I don't know. Oh my gosh, 22, 23 years old. This was a long time ago. But this was my way of third dimensionally being like, I see you and no, you may not. And my boyfriend's here to back me up. So you better not. And so I called him out and he got all red and flustered and denied. But I'll tell you, I was uncomfortable living there for, it was a couple months until I felt like, ooh, the weebie jeebies. But then I got to just receive it and allow that what I had put in place is the truth. And from that point on, psychically, energetically, nothing in my home was displaced. Only that little rent book. I was like, energetically, intuitively, you can feel, okay? Okay, roommate. So again, when I lived in Venice, in California, I rented this beautiful room a mile away from the beach. It was like this amazing thing. The chick seemed really cool. It was like, oh my God, fucking amazing. But like what started happening is little by little, I'd be like, oh, she has no sense of boundaries. And I have very strong boundaries. And I remember one time I had taken a shower and I came out of the shower back to my room. She's sitting at my freaking desk in my chair. And I know I'm saying but my zone. And she's on my laptop. And I was like, I couldn't even, it was so bizarre. I was like, how did this person even think that this was a correct rite of passage in a way? I couldn't even believe it. I remember I'm like in my towel dripping wet and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just looking for this file that I sent you in an email, but I didn't hear a response right away. And you were in the shower, so I thought it was okay. And I was like, it's not okay, but I didn't have the capacity to really call her out. My throat chakra, again, wasn't fully calibrated in my truth at that point. And I was like, well, it's not okay. And I need to get changed. So it was kind of a timid, like, get the fuck out. But without saying that. And she was my roommate. And I was like loving living there the first couple months. And I'm going, oh no, I have a weird psycho roommate. Shit. now I got to deal with this. But I wasn't able to speak it in the 3D. I wasn't able to say, can we have a roomie meeting? I wasn't able to say, that really freaked me out. And I really don't want you in my room. And I really appreciate that you would respect that. I didn't have the ability to say that. So what I did is I went to Home Depot and I bought a lock and I put a freaking lock on my door. That was my third dimensional way of like matching what I'm thinking, what's true in my heart, with my 3D, ability to be like, well, what can I do? If I can't muster this thing to say to her just yet, I can just freaking do this for now. And it helped me to feel like I was like, getting stronger in my truth and stuff. Now, granted, I still wasn't able to speak to her. And so what I did is I wrote the energy letter. I wrote her higher self a letter explaining everything and telling her, I don't want you in my room. And I think you're a nice person, but this was totally freaky and this was totally weird. And there's other things you've actually done that now that you were in my room, I see that that's like fucked up. And I say no to you and you are not allowed. And I put the boundaries and the stuff down energetically as a letter to her higher self. And I will tell you now, granted, the lock was still on the door, but I will tell you that the energy shifted. The alchemy in the home between us shifted. There was a higher understanding and a higher respect that was then resonant. Okay. So healthy boundaries. Family. Family sometimes is just like all up in your door, walking in. You'd like to leave your door open. Maybe sometimes I do. And then the fam member, the mom, the dad, the cousin, whoever it is, they're just like all like, hello. And you're like, whoa, I know we're family and we might live, really close by. But did you tell me you were coming over? But sometimes unless you communicate that, right? They're going to just assume. We all, again, have different levels of understanding healthy boundaries. And unless you communicate and put them in place, a lot of folks may not understand or they may not get the memo. So you have to send the memo. And again, sometimes it's like saying it, speaking it, having the courage to say, I really don't, I know you're my mother, or I know you're my father, or you're my sister, my brother, and I love you. Yet I can't handle these unexpected, show ups from you. And I really don't like them. And I really need you to practice strengthening your ability to communicate with me when you want to come over, because I'm not, and then it's interesting because sometimes you might get this like, well, what are you hiding? Don't we share everything? And don't, and it's like, don't get pulled into that. Don't get pulled into that. Keep your calm, keep your cool, keep your grace, keep your strength, and just keep communicating. And again, and sometimes you're going to have to say it over and over again. And again, if the mind and the heart and the mouth are matching for you and your actions feel like they're matching, but the other side isn't getting the memo, that means you get to upgrade. If you're saying the thing and they're not getting the thing, then you get to say it in a different way. You get to express it in a different way so that they get it. And again, sometimes this stuff is like that 3D. Let me reformat what I'm speaking, because obviously this message is not getting through. And sometimes it means you just get upset and you like have to raise your voice and stomp your foot and be like, get out, this is not cool. And sometimes it takes that level of leveraging the field and your energy and stuff, but ultimately we're moving towards the kung fu. We're moving towards the peaceful warrior level of doing things and not having to get all riled up and activated about stuff. Keep your cool, keep your peace. What was I going to say about that? The family members. I think there was something else, but we're going to just keep going. So let's see. Friends. Sometimes you're meeting new friends, you're meeting new people or clients, right? I remember, and I see there's a comment. I'll read that here shortly. I live out here. I live alone. I'm in the Coachella Valley. I live in the desert of California, but I also advertise online through my website. I'm a Reiki teacher. Send me information if you want to be attuned. And so I get an email from a client. I don't know this person. You can see the name and everything that it's a person who is male. And, they want to be attuned. Well, my intuition says you're not going to bring them into this home. You don't know who this stranger is, but yes, you are guided to exchange that attunement. So what's the guidance? Go to the park. Ask them to meet you at the park. And that's exactly what has happened in the past. And, don't be afraid again of creating a reroute to create a healthy boundary where it might seem like, people might say, but you have like a little space and you can see clients, and you do see clients there. And why don't you just have them to your home and stuff? Well, you get a sense, of this, and it works out that this one client in particular, and I love this person, they have healed, just an infinite amount. But when I met them and they came to me for their level 1 Reiki attunement, they were hooked on crystal meth. And so, yeah, higher self was like, that's not coming into the studio in the healing place. That's not coming in your home where you work with clients. You're going to hold space and do this outside. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Rule number one, healthy boundaries don't agree to things you are not in agreement with. I don't want anyone on crystal meth in my home, period. What are the rules for you that are your, like, just like things where you're like, well, you get to hold space for yourself. You get to create the constructs for that to be. Now, another thing about family. So I have another client, and she might be watching, and everyone that I'm going to talk about little stories, it's all anonymous, and I honor you and what we've shared together, and these are very important aspects. So this one woman has children, and I might fabricate a little bit so it's not specifically you, but the root of the story. This one woman has children. Specifically, she has this younger daughter. Her brother is a little out of balance mentally, and he would show up at the oddest of times to her doorstep. Right, she's married, she has kids, she has a home, beautiful like life she's building for herself, but this off balance brother would just be like at the door, like random times of the day, just showing up, and she'd be like, okay, and wanting to be nice and wanting to not be rude and letting him in. But then she started noticing like this weird thing where she was feeling like, is he giving my daughter like weird sexual energy? And of course, she didn't want to go there. She wants to think of the highest order of all people, places, and things, but her intuition was like, it just doesn't feel right. And the way he just shows up on the doorstep, this just doesn't feel right to me. So anyway, we went in, we did it, we did some work. She got to talk to his higher self, but she also, and tell him on a higher level, like, and really speak her truth to his higher self. But also, we went and we did this guided shamanic meditation whereby she set up these rings of light all around the foundation of her home. There was this crystal in the meditation that God source love had given to her that she dug up from the backyard. This is all in her meditation, and then she took it into the house, and then God was like, then you're gonna like allow it to be buried into the center of your home and illuminate that love and that light, and just create this shield that it was so powerfully illumined with God's source love and light that only that which was in frequency is allowed to pass. Now, she also felt guilty because she's like, well, I don't want to go to the Christmas dinner because I know he's going to be there. And I actually just want to do things different anyway. And I just don't want to put my daughter around him. And I was like, you don't have to. You don't have to. And that's what I'm telling you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? Oh, well, but the family and I'm going to piss people off. Fuck that. You got to do for you what's right for you. Your intuition is telling you something for a reason. Now, I've got more examples, but I know there's comments. So, Skylar, it can be a very difficult thing to confront someone at work. It can really turn on you. There's a certain type of woman who is uncomfortable around me. These dynamics are going to be everywhere with us. There's going to be, they're going to be everywhere with us. But again, to the degree that there's some root element there that gets to be worked out until you no longer have to have that experience in that situation again. And I really feel there's a truth to this, right? Because when it's done, when there's no more polarity, there's no more judgment, there's no more inappropriate exchange of energy, then it disappears. Which brings me, I know 4D, you have an offering, but this actually really beautifully ties in with this offering that the God Phone wanted us to read. Just 2 paragraphs from A Course in Miracles. It's lesson 26. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. What is your invulnerability? Your invulnerability is your ability to remember and to know and to claim that you are unfuckable with. Boom, through all dimensions, time, and space. So be it. Yet, when we have attack thoughts, we are creating the correct conditions to be attacked. Let's keep going. It is surely obvious that if you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. So just by thinking that we're being attacked, we're not in the mind of God. We're saying that I am attackable versus I am unfuckable with. Unfuckable with. Let me add that. Okay, so you see attack as a real threat, and that is because you believe that you can really attack. Now that's interesting. And what would have effects through you must also have effects on you. It is this law that will ultimately save you, but you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interests rather than against them. Because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And again, whatever you project, whatever you put out into the universe, there you are, the stick figure. You're sending out these thoughts, you're sending out these frequencies into the grid matrix. You're creating that continuum as a truth for you through the invisible network, through the metaphysical invisible network that connects all minds, people, places, and things through all time and space. You're saying, and the universe is going to come back and go, okay. So because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack. And even in those little subtle ways, like with the neighbor, with the boss, with this, family member. And if your fear attack, you must believe that you are not invulnerable. Okay, we already said that. Attack thoughts, therefore, make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. And what again does your mind do? Your mind extends energy threads from you through the universe, connecting with the grid matrix of collective consciousness that creates our third dimensional reality here in the world. So attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted together. They contradict each other. So again, is the mind, is the mouth, is the heart, is the action in sync? Because when they are, that's when that stuff, that polarity will start to become invisible, will start to gently release. So again, if you feel that you are the one in any situation with a higher consciousness, then you get to practice Jesus. You get to be Jesus in the situation, and not what I'm going to offer you is not perceive their shortcomings as threats, because you are inviolate, you are unfuckable with, you are almighty, rooted in the power of love and light, but you get to choose it. And sometimes in these situations, it's like, oh shit, I got to choose this over and over and over and over again, because when we have these situations with people that don't get it or don't get the memo, right? We practice, we extend whatever that mind, body, mouth alignment, that truth of sending the memo out of our healthy boundaries, and then they don't get it, and then the crystal turns. There's another fractal, there's another aspect of it's like, okay, they didn't get it like that. Let me re-speak it like this. They don't get it. Okay, there's another way that I get to upgrade this or consider this in a new light. Let me convey it like this. And it'll keep where there's continual issues, that crystal of that continuum of that experience will just keep shape-shifting. It'll keep rotating until you finally hit it from all angles with your love and with your light, with your ability to raise it up and speak your truth from that place of grace and integrity, and know that you can never be trespassed upon. They really can't fuck with your energy unless you let them, unless you give your power away. And that's what we're going to do our little meditation in a little bit about. So I pray that serves us all. 4D Fighting Arts, a good tip I've learned with clients is position things as a win-win. For example, I had a client that used to text me late at night. Yeah, I stopped responding and realigned. I told them the best way to reach me after work hours is by email. I no longer answer work text after 7 p.m. Bingo, exactly. I got you. I hear you. Or letting them know I will respond more quickly via email after a certain time. Yes, yes. And Skylark is saying that's powerful. Yes, 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 yes. And that's all we have to do. And again, sometimes we might get to do it over and over again. Now let's just see, okay, because there was some interesting stuff I wanted to talk about with relationships. So we got the friends, we got the family. Okay, so the relationship. So I'm going to invite, okay, so first of all, what I want to tell you, healthy boundaries with people that you're getting to know that you don't know, that are new, relationships, business, neighbors, friends, situations, strangers. Okay, psychically, people are always going to tell you something about their truth. Are you listening? Are you paying attention? Examples. You're going out on a date, right, with a new guy or a new girl. You want something serious, but they tell you, I don't want anything serious. But you like them so much that you're willing to not hear that and put them in a place of fantasy, and you keep moving ahead. And then you get hurt. Why? Because you weren't getting the memo. You were choosing to not hear what they were telling you. And so you didn't maintain a healthy boundary and communion with this person and just be like, okay, well, I'm okay with being friends. Also, another thing that you might be told, and I know this has happened to me before, where someone says, "Oh, blessings, thank you for joining us." Or someone has said, when a guy tells you, "You can't trust a guy like me," honey, you better listen. It might be romantic. It might be in the heat of passion of a kiss or of some juiciness going on. And like they'll fucking tell you, you get to wake up and smell the coffee and hear, because we all have this thing that will happen. I know there's a catchphrase for it, but where we can't help but, unless we're very crafty and really on purpose trying to hide our shit, where we can't help but be honest with aspects of ourselves. So again, have you ever hung out with a guy or a girl that's like, you shouldn't trust a guy like me, you shouldn't trust a girl like me? Or when someone tells you you're about to get into a relationship, run. Christine's saying, run. Or when someone says, I come with a lot of unhealed issues. If you're looking for a relationship, but you've like done your work and you're ready to like just have fun and be in love and just like share and juiciness and all that stuff, but someone's like, and you're starting to get to know someone and they're like, I come with a lot of issues. Healthy boundaries. They're telling you something about themselves. Now, are you listening? Again, when you don't listen and you just ignore that and you keep moving ahead, you're not honoring your healthy boundaries, because if what you want is not what they want, but you're making an in for them, again, that energy is going to come in and it's going to distort, and it's going to take you out of your truth of like, I just want to have fun. I just want to like get to know someone and like get snuggly. But if they're like, I have a lot of issues, you should know this about me. And if you don't want to deal with issues, don't compromise. Your mind, your mouth, your heart, your actions, they have to match. Okay. Okay. Or like a neighbor once told me, I can see right into your bedroom window. Boom. Squeeze me very much. Okay. What the heck do you do with that? Honey, you put up some curtains. Okay. Number one, you 3D that. You put up some curtains and you just pay attention. Pay attention. Okay, or when your landlord says, I like to know everything about my tenants. Be mindful how much information you give them, right? Unless that's just you're chatty Cathy, and you like knowing everything about everyone as well. Maybe then you've met your match. But pay attention, because people will always tell you where their healthy boundaries or their lack of healthy boundaries are at. But you get to pay attention to how they're coming at you and the information they're giving you. Family, I need you to do this for me, right? They show up out of the blue. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a conundrum. Healthy boundaries. Have you ever been in building a romantic situation with someone? And if you're in it for just more than like a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and you really like them and they seem to like you and you're kind of getting to know each other. Yet there's this sense of, where you feel like they're not fully there, something's going on. They don't seem to be fully present with you, but you're willing to like get to know them more. Imagine that the person that you are building a new level of intimacy with still has not completed healing from the relationship that they had before they met you. To the degree that they have worked out that stuff, they're going to be bringing that stuff into the relationship that they are sharing, seeking to share with you. They're going to bring that other person into the bedroom with you. Now, and this can even go for relationships and exes and stuff that you have not properly cut that cord, made peace with, had closure with, etc. That person is going to be in bed with you. That person is going to be triangulating this twosome, this sacred, intimate space that you're working on gathering together. So, question is, say you are the person who, had an ex relationship that you're still working on. You meet someone new, you want to get to know them, you like them, you're becoming a little intimate, you're going on a few dates, and your ex texts you. In fact, your ex keeps texting you. Now, you've told them, we're over. In fact, you might even be the one who had broken up with them. We're over. I don't want to keep doing this. Stop texting me. But they text you while you're on a date, while you're at that person's home while you're working on building intimacy with this new sacred other, the ex texts you. Now, what do? Right? If you know that you're done with that ex and you're just like, healthy boundary, I already told you I don't want to have this communication. I don't want to talk or anything. Do you text back? Okay. Do you text them back? Especially when you're in the presence of this new person that you like, that you're interested in, that you're working on generating an intimacy. No, you don't text them back. Okay, that's just my offering. Again, because what's going to happen is, especially, you're bringing them into the circumstance of this intimacy, this new level of intimacy you're working to build. Oh my God, we're going to end on Instagram already? I cannot believe it. It's already been an hour. Oh my Lord, I know Facebook and YouTube keeps going. Holy guacamole, I'm so sorry. You know what? Let's see if we can go live again. My friend was teaching me how I can save these stories and repost them. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save this on Insta and I'm going to come back because we're not done yet. A few more things to share and then we're going to do the meditation. So let me end it here and pause with me, my friends on Facebook and Insta. Wow. Okay. End video. Now, how do I, shoot, it's saying share story. It's not giving me the option to save it. It's just saying share it. Now, can I go live? Once I've shared, dun, 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 4D, do you know? I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Unless I get another phone? Okay, well, what if I share it? But then can I still go live? I'm going to try it. I think I can. Oh my gosh. It's the first time I've ever done this. Oh my God, this is so cool. Okay, yes. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so those situations. Again, if you're intending to create a healthy union with someone, but you're letting the past come back in, you're not creating and reinstating that healthy boundary with your ex so that you can move forward. And again, what that's going to do is that's going to let in their energy, his energy, her energy. Thank you for hopping on, Nova Jude. And we just finished a full hour. This is actually our little wrap up, and I'm so grateful you're here. We're going to do a meditation here in a few minutes. And we're talking about healthy boundaries, right? And again, rule number one for healthy boundaries, don't agree to things you are not in agreement with. So what happens is that this person, let's say this guy, tells the girl, actually, my ex has been texting me and I responded. And the girl says, oh, well, isn't that interesting? I really don't like the way that feels for me to think that you are here with me intending to build up an intimacy and a divine connection, yet you're texting with your ex. And then the guy's like, but we're over and I really don't want anything to do with her. And yet, if they were really over them, would they be still responding? Again, is the heart and the mind matching the actions, matching that truth that they are claiming? Do they get to re-speak this aspect of this new level of communication, rewriting the memo to this ex so that they get it? And again, do they have the option? Yes, they do, as we all do always, to just not respond back. And in that way, keep their energetic sheath clear, coherent, keep it grounded and founded in what they are intending to build, and then they can still work on this healing and the closure from the past relationship while they can still appropriately move forward in the now presence of a new relationship. Charles, maybe they have children together. It's so interesting you say that because in this scenario that I'm telling you about, the woman, the ex, has a son from a different lover from the past. And the man had spent many years in relationship with her and felt a due to be the father figure to that child. So it's interesting you even say that, Charles. You psychic. In terms of, I understand there's dynamics. There's interesting dynamics, but still, to the degree that we don't create healthy boundaries, if he's saying that he really wants to be done with her, but he keeps you know, keeps having that exchange back and forth. And granted, there's time, there's cycles, things take time. There's, things work themselves out in healing relationships. My gosh, I'm sure we've all been there. And it's almost like the longer the relationship, this seems like the longer the cycle that it might take for that, like, for those, time segments to complete, and where we can really feel free and capable of embodying that. Yet just understanding along the way to experiencing and exploring greater freedom and sovereignty, the choices you make along the way are vital to building that healthy boundary aspect. So if he really wants to have that completion, and it was obvious, right? There's a sense of like, well, maybe he's just actually not ready. Maybe what he's thinking and saying really aren't matching. Maybe there's still some deep healing going on, which is fine, which is okay. Yet honoring that. And if that's what's going on, then maybe the thought about, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done, when your heart is saying you're not done. Actually, you guys have more things you need to talk about for your closing. You have more things you need to discuss about having a healthy closure, etc. You know, I can't speak for this person, but for all of us, though, that there's these complex levels that are at play. And so, how are we playing within them, and understanding that the choices we make within those paradigms are either going to serve strengthening our ability to know who we are in our center, in our clarity, in our sovereignty of that piece of building your healthy boundaries, or it's going to let more of that like energy in. And so, what are we choosing? Okay, Okay, run fast. Okay, Skylark, what about someone who ended it with you, but still wants to be in touch, and you want to be in touch with them? You've told your new partner about this past relationship and what it means to you. Oi, she says. I think that's really good that you've told your, or in that situation, that if you've told your current partner that your ex and you are still friends, and if everyone is in agreement, and if, especially if you know, we all know, and if say it's you, and if you know that you're really over that ex, and you know that that ex is really over you, and where your energy really is with this new person, and you've all communicated that you still are friends with this ex, and the new guy is saying like, okay, I get it, I'm older, I'm wiser, mature, I've been around the block, I get it. And you know that you and your ex can maintain with integrity that relationship, then it's great, it's fine. My ex, a lot of my ex, anyway, that's a whole long story, but we're still friends. And actually, I have told, like, people who I've gone on little dates with since then, where it's come to that conversation, I've said, like, just so you know, I'm still friends, like close friends with my ex, but there's nothing in the heart, there's nothing sexually, there's nothing, it's all clear, and it's all peace, and it's all namaste, but we still got each other's backs, kind of a thing. And so, I have said that, and where the individual is like, I'm cool with that, I get it, then it's cool, but to communicate, Skylark, I think, is a great and powerful thing. And that's the part of this, right? It's clearly communicate your truth, so that there isn't any hidden aspects, and if there is a little something with the ex or with something, everyone's going to know psychically, even if they try not to know or push away that sense of knowing. We're all going to know that someone else is in the bed with us, someone else is having dinner with us, someone else is here, because your mind will go there, and it will psychically bring that into the space where you're at. um Fighting arts, I'm going to get to your thing here. I'm just going to finish with Skylark's comment. She says, 4D, my ex was much younger than me, but we had a major mind body soul connection, and we've both realized that will is no ending for us, even though we are no longer intimate and both with others. We both realize that there is no ending for us, even though, okay, yeah, so there's no ending for you, right? So I don't know, that alludes to the sense of like that you guys still have feelings for each other on some level, and so being mindful, there will be no ending. I mean, boom, that's a big deal. And so, can your current partner handle that? Is that something you want to share with them? How intimate How much of a boundary will that create with your current partner? Will that allow them to feel a certain intimacy with you? And where there's no ending with your ex, how much will that allow you to develop and be in the presence of an intimacy with your current partner? These psychic values, right? They're very, very important. But again, we choose what's important to us. We choose what is our truth. And not all relationships are perfect. And we might find ourselves in situations, and there we are, and it is what it is. And so we work from the place where we find ourselves. We do love each other, but we have other relationships. Yeah, yeah. So both you and your ex, there's still love. You're welcome. There's still love there, but now you have other relationships. Yeah, that's a trip, and some things are like this. Some things will just keep going. Some things will be a never-ending saga in a way that you get to, with as much integrity as you can, step into them and honor them and be present to the degree that you can. And that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. Now, 40 Fighting Arts said, Sky, I would really, so he's talking to you, Skylark. I would really think about what that means. Are you two really over each other? Or is this just one of you, or is there just one of you trying to keep a connection? Is this a healthy connection? Okay, so you're getting some offerings here from the ground in the comments here, Skylark. You know, and these are interesting because when we go back into those past relationships, yeah, how much of them do we want to keep bringing forward with us into the present? How is it serving us? And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's neutral, sometimes it's fun, it's benign, yet to the point that that energy seeps in and distorts any sense of a healthy boundary we may be trying to create with our past, with the past versions of ourselves versus the version of us that we are now becoming and growing into, and how we extend in sharing sacred boundaries with intimately with those that we are in relationship now. There's these complex situations of how it all sort of Rubik's cube fits in together, and we get to keep reintegrating. We get to keep shape shifting that Rubik's cube to match the truth we would have. And sometimes there is a longing. Sometimes there is a longing for a part of us from the past, for that way things used to be, for that person from the past, even when you're in a relationship in the now. And so there may be deeper levels to look at, but while you do, you can maintain healthy boundaries. No, a couple weeks ago, I did I think it was like metaphysical energy tools for sensitives and light workers. And, if you're going to think, I mean, even here, there's the bending of the rules. You know the rules and you do your best to maintain them. But where there is that sense of like, if something's, you're with your present partner, but there's something sexy going on in your mind about someone else. And if there's to be an entertaining of that, again, there's that beef eater hat. Remember, I did that in the show the other week, where those guys who stand outside of Buckingham Palace with the red jackets and that big high black hat that they wear, that can be a psychic protection hat, where you put that hat on energetically, and then you have your fantasy, and then you go and you do whatever you want to do. But it's not going to psychically bleed out into your environment. You're not going to carry it. It's not going to create the conditions for that energy to come in and penetrate you and be attached to you from outside forces. It's going to be you in your own little fantasy world for the time that it is in effect, and then when you're done, it goes away. Now, I know that may or may not be so clear. Blessings, Jonathan. Keep rocking it. You too, brother. You too. Okay, Skylark. There will be no ending. We do love each other. Okay, but have other relationships. Thank you for your input, she says to 4D Fighting Arts. I guess we both realized we had an incredible connection. We only speak a few times a year. Yes, Tuesday, you're right about yearning for the past. That was so amazing. That was very clear and makes sense. I know, girl. I know. I remember. I think I know who you're talking about. And I remember the you of the then, And so how would we have it? How would we have our current relationships? How would we keep showing up? And, we're all doing the best with what we got. We're all showing up to the best of the degree that we can. And in some areas like family, we ace it with creating healthy boundaries. In some areas like work, we may still be working on it. In some areas of intimate relationships, the work may be thicker, or maybe we're happy with the way things are too. There is a consensus and an agreement that if energetically you've created certain constructs of boundaries, whether they are healthy or leaky, or the borders are a little mysterious and not so clear, there is some level of agreement from the other person, whether it's friend, family member, intimate relationship, boss, that is matching that too. And where it's almost like they're okay with that too. And to the degree that you're both okay with that, things can work to the degree that they will work. And as long as as long as you feel fulfilled and happy and authentic and integral to the degree that you can in any said situation, then it is what it is. It is what it is. And if it is meant to change, when it is time for change, it will change. Now, let's see if there's any other offerings. Oh, blessings. Amy's here. Amy's in the house. Michael Caputo, thank you for becoming a regular. Blessings, brother. All right, my friends. So we are going to, and thank you for hopping on Instagram. This is this part 2. We're here already for an hour, and we're going to end with a little meditation. So this is a short meditation, and it is a 3-breath, take your power back. It doesn't have to be that someone psychically abused you or, misled you or did anything wrong or bad to you. It can be just where there's been a misplacement of your energy, where you've given your power away, where you haven't spoken your truth to someone, or maybe you have, but there's still some energetic lingering of their presence in your field or in your home or in your space. And you just know that you are ready to breathe back in the life force, the power, the energy that is yours into you, into your mind, your body, your field, and give them back what belongs to them. So there's no weird woo. We never force a will. We never manipulate energy. We don't do any of that kind of funky stuff here in the energy work that we do. It is always for the highest good. It is always grounded and rooted in love and in light, and for the highest good of all. And this exercise is about you just recognizing where you've overextended your energy, where you've given your power away. You've said yes too many times, and now you're ready to learn how to say no. And first and foremost, energetically in this meditation, and then bring it into the 3D, into the world through your voice, through your actions, your deeds, and create and sustain a new strengthening of these healthy boundaries. So what we're going to do, I'll run you through it and then we'll go in. What we're going to do is you probably already know who it is. Again, maybe it's the boss. It could be even your current lover, your partner. It could be a family member, anyone who is kind of like invaded inappropriately your sense of a healthy boundary, and where you've kind of let them. You're going to take your power back. You're going to breathe your essence back into you from their energy field. And you're going to breathe their essence, that which you've taken on by not speaking your truth, by not creating a healthy boundary. You've taken on their energy now. You're going to breathe that back out to them. So you're not taking anything from them that didn't belong to you in the first place. And you're not giving anyone anything that isn't truly and rightfully theirs. Again, everything we do is for the highest good. And what we do is we do this via our higher selves. Okay. So it's going to be 3 breaths. And we're going to breathe as if we are breathing, like, imagine we're breathing like a really long, thin piece of spaghetti. So just try it with me. Breathing in. And in this way, we lengthen the breath, because just in your imagination right now, what we're going to do, we'll call it in here shortly, is your higher self is going to sit across from their higher self. Make that connection. And the practice then is you breathing your light, your love, your energy, your essence, your power back from them. So you're going to imagine through that inhale, you're going to make it as long and as full and as slow as you can. You're going to breathe and reel it all in like a ball of yarn, or like a fishing thing rod, that you're just reeling your energy back in into yourself. And then without pausing, I mean, you will pause, but without taking a breath in between that, you've brought all your stuff back in, and then that exhale, you're going to give them back all their energy, all their essence, whatever you've taken on, because sometimes when we don't create those healthy boundaries, people's weird things, we end up taking on their weird affectations, their impatience, their frustration, their anger, their issues. You don't need that. It's not yours. You don't need to process it. You don't need to handle it. So you breathe them back. Okay, so I pray that makes sense. And it all happens in 3 breaths. If you resonate with this video is up at my YouTube in my meditations playlist. I will also come back on YouTube and put a little link directly to it. Because let me tell you, I have done this meditation hundreds of times with people over the course of since I first learned it. And it's just a healthy thing to do, right? To just reinstate that healthy detachment and know what your energy is, where the healthy boundaries of your energy is, and where theirs is, where your energy begins and ends, and where theirs begins and ends. And you're saying your energy ends here because my energy is here to meet it with my healthy boundary of knowing that this space is sacred, and I claim it and I make it so for the highest good. Boom. Okay. So let me just check. There might be, no. Okay. So take a moment and get comfortable and just close your eyes. Take a deep, slow breath in through your nose. So for this first 3, we're going to breathe through the nose. Breathe in through the nose for mind. Fill up your lungs as much as you can, and then breathe out slowly through your mouth. Use that spaghetti string, that little hole. Breathe out. And then the next breath, breathe in through the nose for your emotions. You're breathing light into your emotional body when you do this. Fill up, 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 up. And exhale through your mouth, more of that light into your emotional body. Now, for your physical body, breathe in through the nose, fill it with light. Take your time, breathe in slowly, fill up the lungs all the way, and exhale through the mouth, physical body filled with light. Now take a moment here, and even here, just notice you're breathing that little bit deeper, that little bit more relaxed and expanded, just from those first 3 practice breaths, those first 3 anchoring breaths that bring us in. Now shrink yourself down to the size of your thumb and imagine you just dropping into the center of your heart chakra, the center of your heart, the center of your chest. And it is here we meet in a rose quartz crystalline cave. Imagine yourself now in this rose quartz crystalline cave and look around as this little shrunken version of you in your heart space, just looking around this sacred space. And as you look around, you notice your higher self approaching. You greet your higher self, and your higher self acknowledges you. And your higher self sort of walks into you, becomes you. The two of you become one. You merge with your higher self. And it is in this sacred space of this rose quartz crystalline cave. Kind of walk around a little bit, look around a little bit, and you find a sweet spot to sit down in. And maybe it's a couch, maybe it's a chair, a cushion on the floor, whatever it looks like to you. You know, for you, this is a comfortable place for you to do this work. So you get yourself comfortable and you sit down here. You sit erect. And in this meditation, within this meditation, you gently close your eyes, connected to your higher self, which connects you to source, to all the love and light of the universe. Now bring your awareness to that person that you know you're ready to take your power back from. And again, how do you know who this is? It's the person that keeps going on and on over in your mind, that you keep talking about that situation or that thing. That's the one. Now, for the highest good, you're going to call in their higher self just by having the intention. You've seen their face now in your mind's eye. Ask if they would join you in this meditation as their higher self. Ask them now. If they say yes, you invite them in to sit right across from you. If they say no, who's next on the list? And chances are 99% of the time, that first person that comes up on your radar is going to be willing to do this work with you because they know on a higher level that there's work to do too. So, having called in that person's higher self, and it is now sitting across from you in this meditation, within this meditation, in your heart, in this rose quartz crystalline cave, you're going to prepare to do this 3 breath exercise of taking your power back. Both the inhale and the exhale of each round is going to go in and out through the mouth, and you're going to slow the breath. You're going to make it as long and slow and full and complete through the inhale and the exhale as you can. And remember, you're only breathing back in what is your essence, what is your truth, your power, your love, your light, your self-respect, your healthy boundaries. And you're exhaling, giving to them what you may have taken on from them by not expressing and creating healthy boundaries. You're giving them back to them, the part of them that keeps you thinking about them in your mind, part of them that keeps you tripping on this same experience. Perhaps you're just giving all that energy back to them. Now, when you're ready, a preparatory breath. Take a slow inhale for the preparation through the nose, as we did at the beginning, and really fill up your lungs to their maximal capacity. Keep breathing in through your nose, slow, 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 and then super slow through the mouth. Preparation, just exhale. This is to prep the lungs. And once you've fully completed in your mind's eye, your eye to eye with this person's higher self, breathe your power back. Slow inhale through the mouth. Begin to imagine you're breathing back into you, your love, your light, your power from all around them, from their aura. You're breathing it back in, and breathe in until your lungs cannot take any more air in. And as you exhale through the mouth, you're giving them back to them. Giving them back any displaced energy where you've taken their energy on, where you felt an attack, where you felt dishonored, disrespected, whatever it is, you just give that back to them. Next inhale through the mouth. Again, breathe your power back, your love, your light, your respect, your integrity. Breathe it in. Breathe your love, your light back in, your power. Breathe it back in, filling your aura, filling your sacred space with this love, with this light. At the very top of that inhale, exhale through your mouth. Give them back their love, their light, their power. Everything you've taken on from them through this exchange with them. Give it back to them. Wring the lungs out like a sponge. Really express all that air. Give them back all of themselves energetically. Last breath, inhale through the mouth. You, breathing you back into you, the energy. Whether it's been polarized, right? You've judged, you've gotten fear, you've felt attacked, you've given them your energy in way of thinking they have power of you. Breathe you back to you. Fill up, 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 up. And as you exhale, give them back to them. Just give all of them, however you might see them or think of them or whatever is for them, for the highest good, dear universe, dear God, dear love and light, give it back to them. Fully, completely complete that exhale through your lungs, and then take a moment, take a breath. And feel what it feels like as you exhale to come back into this strengthened sense of your aura, of this radius, this ball, this orb of light that is this divine shield, this sheath of sacred love and light energy that keeps you in your clarity, keeps you in your self-respect, keeps you in knowing what is true to you, and keeps you with a sense of integrity of how to employ that, how to make that known through your words, your actions, your deeds. Feel this vibrant, glowing, beautiful orb of golden light that you are. And look across from you and see this other person, see them in their light. See them in their orb of light, now completely disconnected from you, if there were any connections. You are each sovereign. You are each free now. Acknowledge this person's higher self sitting across from you and say thank you. Thank you for doing this work with me today. And like that, they acknowledge you back and they're gone. And the work is done. And feeling this sense of shift in your frequency, can you feel a shift by you doing this little exercise? What do you feel? Now we're going to come back into the room and into the space where you are. Acknowledge your higher self now within your heart space. Acknowledging this rose quartz crystalline cave where we do all this beautiful work together. You're going to take 3 breaths to come back into the full physical form of your body. Again, remember, you've shrunk yourself down. You're a little thumb-sized version of you in your heart. Each breath, you're going to grow larger and larger back into your physical form where you are. Take a deep breath in through your nose for mind. Filling mind with light, exhale through the mouth, strengthening that light all around you through your mental continuum, through your mental body. Another breath, take it in through the nose for your emotional body, your emotional well-being. Breathing light in. Filling your emotional continuum with that light. Exhale through your mouth. Feeling and filling this emotional continuum of your energy body, your emotional body with light, and through your physical body, now growing into your fullest form, matching your physical body where you are, breathing in through the nose, filling your body with light. And as you exhale, that tiny part of you that was shrunk down into your heart expands, 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 grows, 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 filling your body with love, with light, filling you with you until you are back into your fullest physical form. Now take a moment, take another breath, wiggle your toes, your fingers, and slowly start to open your eyes. Whew. Powerful. Powerful. Again, it's one of my favorites. Takes 5 minutes. It does the job. UB Sanchez, I remember you from Equinox. Blessings, brother. Good to see you. May you be healthy and well. Nova Judah, I'm going to use this meditation for my yoga class, if I may. Yes, you may. I will hook you up. I will send you the direct link from my YouTube, so you get to a sense of the foundation, right? Of the set points for it. Skylark, that was lovely. Okay, blessing. Ah. Wow, you're amazing. Aw, blessings. All right, everyone. Good work. And if you missed this, if you just hopped on at the end here, part 1 of this, and hopefully I'm going to see if I can post part 2 here too. I've never done that on Instagram Live, but part 1, we're breaking down. Remember, number 1 rule for healthy boundaries, for creating healthy boundaries, is don't agree to things you are not in agreement with. Okay, so we reviewed all the psychic stuff, all the energetics aspects metaphysically with regard to that. I pray everything I share fully serves your path of spiritual growth, of sovereignty, of peace right now. And oh, you're so welcome, April. Blessings. Can you send me the link too? Yeah, love is. I will. I will send you the link to that. And please, I invite you to come over and subscribe to my YouTube. I have I don't know, something crazy like 300 or 400 videos, all sorts of spiritual, metaphysical stuff. Jonathan, you were here still. I was like, did he just hop on? And he's just like saying, what's up, girl? And then he was out, because I know you like a little meditation. So I play, and I pray that that was in resonance for you today. Thank you for being here, Jonathan. And thank you everyone, and 4D for all your comments, and Chris and Skylark for all of your comments, and Charles and everyone for sharing. I'm so grateful. And again, just so you know, next Thursday, 4D Trinity, I'm going to be joined by a girlfriend of mine who I've known for 30 years. She's in Belfast. She's in Northern Ireland. We were best friends. We've been best buddies for years and years, 30 years. Knew her. I lived in Ireland for 10 years back in the day. And she's a medium. She's a psychic. She's a healer. She's a shaman. She's a Reiki person. She's all that. So we are going to be talking about everything spiritual, metaphysical, and juiciness. And I pray you're going to be able to understand her accent. It's pretty thick. She's so lovely, and I love her. So join me next week for our conversation about all things spiritual. And then the week after that, April 30th, I'm going to have on the show Intuitive Spirit Life. Again, another amazing, beautiful goddess woman who is just so nourishing and just so loving, and has fully just, she's plugged in. She's plugged into source, to God, to love, to light. And she's an empath and a holy fire Reiki master. And I'm so grateful to have her on the show. So I'm excited about that. And if you're not on my mailing list, go to my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. The link should be down below. It's at Facebook. The link is at my profile on Instagram. And sign up for my monthly love letter. I'm going to start my Spiritual Apprentice book club next Saturday, the April 25th, with my book, The Reiki Apprentice. It is going to be a book club where you are going to learn how to heal your life by understanding the metaphysical principles that I teach and I share. It's going to be deep. It's going to be beautiful. Sliding scale, $2 to $5 donation, and we will be using Zoom, so download it. And also on Fridays, I teach a cardio kinetics class. It's so fun, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, level 1 and level 2. So if you want to get your zhuzh on and keep your physical body going, I know sometimes we've become a little sedentary in our current situations, join. Again, that's a $2 to $5 sliding donation through PayPal. You will need Zoom. So hook me up, send me your messages or your information if you want to get more information about all that. Enjoy a blessed day. It's gorgeous out here in California, and wherever you are, I pray you're also experiencing the blessing, the gift of this sunshine. Get out in it and be kissed by it. So again, thank you everyone for being here, and namaste. So many blessings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to end YouTube first, and then